Hi all, you are watching a segment of the Countdown program from November 9, 2023. Today is Thursday. View all of our programs on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. I'll talk about the themes of the postscript a little later, but now let's talk about the main topic. Ukrainian President Zelensky announced his readiness to fight Russia even without US support. We are talking about the danger of re-electing Donald Trump as US president, who during his first presidency actually took Washington off the world agenda, flirted with dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un, and weakened NATO. Today, Trump declares that the United States should not support Ukraine and refused to come to Kyiv at Zelensky's invitation, citing some conflict of interest that could allegedly arise in the event of such a visit. Nevertheless, being under several trials and investigations into dozens of criminal cases, Trump remains one of the most popular U.S. politicians, and many experts consider his victory in the future presidential elections, if his candidacy is admitted, to be very likely. It will be difficult if the United States changes its position, Zelensky said. If Congress and the White House change policy, I will say, okay, we will fight without you. According to him, the views of individual members of the Republican Party pose a danger to Kyiv. Zelensky also stressed that he will not support people seeking to stop the military conflict at any cost. It's no secret that the Kremlin is banking on prolonging the war today. A certain fatigue in Europe with the Ukrainian topic has already been observed, and to it has been added the topic of Israel's war against Hamas, with a new threat of an expanding migration crisis. And if the Kremlin's bet on Trump works, Ukraine will find itself in a very difficult situation. In Moscow, they only dream that Kyiv will run out of fighters while the Rashists will have enough of their own scum, and then the meat assaults will play their decisive role. Putin needs all of Ukraine, not just part of it. Unfortunately, few people in Europe understand this, and in Washington too. But there is also positive news. The European Commission made a recommendation to begin negotiations on the accession of Ukraine and Moldova to the EU, which struck truly nuclear sparks from Medvedev's drunken eyes. Judging by the style of spewing, either Medvedev himself switched to the mole game, or hired the stubborn Azarenka as a copywriter. Quote, the crazy European Commission, led by a frantic gynecologist, demands that Bandera Krajina be accepted for preservation and for the sake of this, to give the rest of the weak allies a collective abortion. Cut him off from any EU subsidies, redistributing them in favor of Kyiv. It is obvious that the new proud and beautiful countries, having become micro-members of the European Union, will switch to direct feeding of caring mothers from Germany, France and other Euro fatties for decades. And all these Bulgarians with the Balts and other second-rate rabble will tighten their belts. Of course, the young, but voracious Kiev-Kishinev rickets will quickly bleed and defat old Europe, end of quote. If the Kremlin begins to hysterically smash Medvedev's head against the walls, it means that Brussels is doing everything right, causing Raska to become furious. US President Biden, according to communications coordinator Kirby, believes that the Ukrainians are capable of taking back the territory. At the same time, Kyiv notes noticeable successes in actions in Crimea, meaning strikes against the occupiers on the territory of the peninsula and the destruction of ships of the Black Sea Fleet. Watch this and other stories in full on the Patreon resource. Become our patrons right now and look further in this program. The Syrian army has entered into battle with the US military east of the Euphrates River. And the day before, the Israeli Defense Forces entered the center of Gaza. Israel has officially announced that the leader of the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, is surrounded in his bunker. A conference on providing humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip was held in Paris today. Opening the conference, French President Macron said that a humanitarian pause in the sector should be announced as soon as possible. While supporters of Palestine are holding rallies against Israel throughout Europe, the action that took place yesterday in Madrid under the slogan, "We are for a Christian and anti-Muslim Spain," appears to be a surprising exception. Putin, chilled in freezers, arrived in Astana. warm up on Tokayev's upholstered furniture. The day before, he called on Astana for even greater special integration and even promised to build a nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan. Watch in the program, Postscript. The pre-stump campaign in the Kyiv will be boring and dull. Everything will be tailored to suit one bald candidate. It is not yet clear whether Nadezhdin will be registered, but he is already jumping out of his pants. Papa Zoo will definitely lead his red-faced flock to the stumps. Judging by the increased activity of Valentina Matvienko, the glass is half full on the issue of a female candidate. The Vatican struck at the heart of the matter by allowing transgender people and other representatives of sexual minorities to participate in church ceremonies. The issue of sexual minorities can be put to rest in the literal sense of the word. The Russian Orthodox Church is silent. Grandfather Gunjay is looking for words for his shaggy flock. And that is all. See our full programs on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to everyone. See you tomorrow, on Friday Live. Glory to Ukraine.